For those who are online attending this, just FYI, we're an anonymous webinar, so you can't see anybody else on the webinar other than us four that are going to be talking. I can see who's on the call, and if you want to ask questions, you can click, questions at the bottom, and if you click anonymous, your name doesn't come across on the question. If you don't mind that your name's on there, you can ask the question and just ask it. We'll give it another minute or two here. We usually like to start at 10:35 officially on the topic, mainly because as agents, we have a tendency to be a little late. So we're going to give people a few more minutes, I should say, to hop on, and then we will kick off joining a team. Actually, I'm sorry, there's five of us. There's five of us on here. Elizabeth, your son, what's his name?
This is Nico, and he is sick. And so he gets to be the team mascot today.
So we got Liz, Tara, Nico, Matt, and myself on today. So it's a free bonus, right? We get an extra insightful person here.
Yeah, and he's cute to look at,
Yes.
People get bored and start wandering. There's a toddler.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, 10:34. Wait about another minute. And then we can get started. And then Tara's going to exit stage left. She just left.
They're just
Howdy, Greg.
You can just never make stuff up sometimes. So, all right. I think we'll go ahead and get started here. Want to thank everybody who's either watching this live or in person for attending this last webinar in this webinar series that we've been hosting, talking about teams, right? So we talked about, should I form a team with Annie Bradford? We talked about, should I leave a team with Alexis Kemp, which she also joined a team, and she also then left a team, then she formed a team. And then today we're going to specifically dig in on, should I join a team? And so today we have Liz and Tara with us, who are part of, I'm going to pronounce it wrong. Is it the Matt Clark Real Estate team or the Clark Real Estate team?
Just Clark. You should know this. It's been like 8 years.
I lose track of stuff. The Clark Real Estate team. And we just wanted to dig in a little bit on joining a team. So for those who are attending live, if you want to ask questions, just a reminder, you can't see anybody else on the call. We do this in this format just because then there's no interruptions. We've all been on those Zoom calls where someone joins a call and they're on the phone, or there's a barking dog or whatever's going on. So we're just trying to, keep the conversation uninterrupted from that. And then also allow people to attend anonymously, because sometimes people don't want to ask questions or, bring things up when when everybody can see who's on the call. So if you want to ask a question at the bottom, there's a Q&A button. If you don't click the allow or ask anonymously, it will say your name over to us when you ask it. Otherwise, you can click the ask anonymously, and we'll answer any questions as we go. And with that, let's get started with some introductions. So Liz and Nico, I'll let you guys introduce yourselves first.
Deal. He's already ready to talk. My name is Elizabeth. I joined Epic. Has it been 6 months? Maybe just 6 months ago, shy of it. I previously came from another brokerage, and then before that, I was in healthcare. And through a whirlwind, ended up in real estate and absolutely love it. And Nico joined halfway through my real estate career, and he's been pretty much my mascot and has come with to many of showings.
All right, Tara, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Tara, and I've been with Epic since March, I think it was March 30th, and 2 other brokerages before that, and love every minute of it, even the changes.
Matt, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Sure. My name is Matt Clark of the Clark Real Estate team, just to clarify that. Myself, Liz, and Tara, who are on the call, we're a traditional team at Epic Realty. I personally have been in real estate for 8 years now, full-time realtor, acted I had a domestic team with my wife first couple years, and then was basically a solo agent for like the last 5. And this team thing is kind of new as of probably April. So excited to kind of explore. Like I said, JJ said earlier, we talked about why to start a team, why to leave a team, and now we're going to talk about why to possibly join a team. So excited to get the conversation rolling.
Yep. And for those that don't know me, JJ Johannes, been involved in real estate in the area here since 2003, from running as a solo agent to an independent brokerage to moving to cloud-based brokerage and then moving to Epic Realty in February of this year. And kind of seen lots of different things. One of the things I've never done is had a traditional team per se. I think the brokerage that we had that Matt was a part of, I would say we were kind of like a team in a way, less like a brokerage, more like a team from that perspective. So kind of add some insight into that. And I think with that, one of the questions that I guess, or for context, I want to talk about context because Liz and Tara, you guys both joined a team when you moved over to Epic, but you are both not on a team at your other brokerage, if I understand that correct. At least I know for you, Liz, and I think for Tara. So maybe just not answer the why, but just so people understand, like how long were you in the business before moving to Epic and joining Matt's team? And were you always solo or were you on a team that whole time? So, Tara, I'll have you go first.
Right. I was around 8 years, 8+ years or 7+ years. And I was looking for a team because I traveled to Colorado since my granddaughter was born. She's 21 months now, and I'm there probably once every 3 months. And so I needed somebody that I could fully, completely trust for when I'm gone, that things get taken care of and I don't even have to worry about it since I'm with my granddaughter.
So for 8 years, you were acting as a solo agent.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Liz, what about yourself?
So I have only been in the industry. This will be going into my 3rd year. And so I was with Skogman for 2 years. I was a solo agent the entire time. I was interested in teams, but really didn't know anybody well enough or trust anybody well enough that I was ready to jump into the team. And so honestly, it was Tara kind of going, look, there's an opportunity to join a team. You like me, I like Matt. Have you thought about switching brokerages? And that kind of was one of the motivations in which got me to leave Spokman.
Yeah. Well, and Matt, I'll let you ask. I was going to actually ask the next question, but I think you can ask that, the motivation.
Yeah, so Liz just kind of touched on it a little bit. So we kind of know, Tara, your motivation for joining a team, because the way we worked out, like I wasn't advertising, hey, I'm starting a team. Tara's kind of the brainchild here. Tara's the one that kind of is like, hey, we should form a team, and this is something that I'm interested in. And then that's, then through Tara, I met Liz. So, other than just, Tara, you're going to be, gone, you have family things. Like, what were your other motivations for wanting to join a team? Because you were a solo agent up until, April or something.
Right. I needed complete trust. And we had worked a deal in the past, and you went above and beyond what I expected. And so I knew that you were very trustworthy. And so that's why I approached you. I thought it would be a great fit. And there's a big one too, our personalities mesh. And I wanted somebody that has different strengths than myself, so that way we can add all of our strengths and then we can help each other.
Along with that, so why not start the Tara Kleber team? Why join a team versus starting a team? Because you were craving, someone you could trust. You were craving having that assistance. Why not start a team versus joining a team?
I prefer to join a team because of the fact that I'm gone a lot with my granddaughter and daughter out in Colorado. And so I have to be away and I have to unplug. And a team lead, I believe if they're worth, being a team lead, they need to be plugged in a lot more than I could do.
Yep. And I think, I mean, what's interesting, and both you guys kind of hit on it, and sorry to interrupt here on this, Matt, with your question to both of them, but I think sometimes when people think of teams, one of the first reason most people look at teams is leads. And neither of you, from what I have in conversations and through, this conversation, like that wasn't the number one thing on either one of your list, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
I would agree, yeah.
So Liz,
So-
kind of the same question for you then. So like, you were a solo agent at a different brokerage. You knew Tara. You did not know me really at that point. You decided to make a change, but then not only were you changing where you hung your license, you were changing maybe a little bit how your business is structured because you were joining a team versus being solo. So what was your kind of thought process when you were weighing, or your motivation as well when you're weighing being on a team versus not being on a team?
First, I'll apologize. My kid's having a meltdown in the background. But I think I touched on, I had a background of healthcare, and in healthcare, you are constantly bouncing ideas off of each other. You're brainstorming together. You have someone you can lean on. And so when I got into real estate, I learned pretty quickly it's a very competitive field. And I didn't want to be an agent that was untrusting and couldn't share ideas. And I mean, there's a lot of people that hold how they got clients very close to their chest. And so for me being a new agent coming in, I was trying to learn all these things. And I had a few people who would throw me bites here or there, but nobody that wanted to sit down and go, look, let's be honest, this is a great way to, build your business. And so for me, it was to have that team aspect and be able to have someone I can bounce ideas off of, someone that had more knowledge than me. And another part of it was to be able to trust someone with my clients. I kind of like Tara, if I'm gone, I want someone that I can trust, who's not gonna coach my clients. And someone who's willing to be very transparent with me and, hey, this is how I found success in real estate. Maybe look this way and let's run ideas together and be very honest with each other.
Yeah, so for both of you, I mean, I think, you're looking for some mentorship and collaboration, right? You wanted that as part of what you had, but you were also both needing basically the structure to help you, so you didn't feel like you had to do everything on your own because stuff happens, right? Got to go visit, got to go to Colorado. Your kid is sick, like all these things that you need kind of that village to help you with, even with the real estate side, it sounds like.
Absolutely. I mean, with Nico, I was 3 days postpartum and doing showings. And I didn't mind it, but it would have been nice to have a week off set to heal. And now I have a team that can be there, that if I'm in a situation where I need that, I can lean on someone and trust someone to take my client on a showing and not go, hey, you should get rid of your contract with Lizzie and join me.
Yeah, I think that's important too. Like or at least how we're structured, if you need something, I think we all do a good job of introducing ourselves to our clients as we're part of a team. Like when I go and I talked to somebody yesterday in regards to listing their property. Yeah, my name's Matt and I'm here at your dining room table and we're talking, but I do have a team. And so I think it's important for even our clients to realize, like, you may not hear from Liz, you may not hear from Tara, but they are there just so if I'm out or I'm unavailable for whatever reason. I think it adds an extra layer when I'm talking to complete strangers. A lot of times these people are when I'm meeting them. I think it goes a long way to show that not only am I supporting them, but there is two other individuals who you may or may not meet, but they're going to support you as well and step in, and they're going to be just as knowledgeable as me because we all, like Liz said, that collaboration and that piece of it too. So I think that's important when we're talking to people, that are complete strangers.
Yeah, and along those lines, you guys talked about the benefits. I am just kind of curious for myself. So this is kind of an off the cuff question, but with both of your guys' experiences before, did you ever consider joining a team, and did you actually interview and talk to a team? And what was maybe some things that you decided, or what was a reason or reasons that you decided not to pursue that? Did either of you ever talk to anybody before joining Clark Real Estate Team about joining a team?
I did not. There was a team that I would have
Yes, I
loved to join. But I know that they're a family team, and I wasn't sure if they'd open that door, especially with me being brand new. And I didn't really know anybody else. So I was like, to be honest, I'm not sure if I'm ready to commit. And I mean, a lot of teams, team leads in a lot of situations want a big cock, and I was brand new, obviously not earning a whole lot. I think, well, my first year I was technically only licensed for 4 years, and my second year I did 2.3 million, but it was still kind of spotty. And I was nervous if I got into a team, all of my proceeds, everything I made would go right down the drain towards a team leader. And so I think I was nervous to commit. So I didn't interview anybody, no.
What about you, Tara? Did you consider or talk to anybody about joining a team? And if you didn't, like, what was the reasons that you were hesitant before this?
I didn't technically interview anybody, but in my first brokerage, there was a team that they were very, very vocal, and they were very good together until they were not. And I remember the one time walking upstairs to go sit in my little cubie, they just started screaming at each other. And there was all sorts of things flying in the air, and it was kind of like having a knife, cut the tension. And it really turned me, I went sour on teams after that. I was like, why would anybody join a team? Because they were really good friends beforehand. So I'm like, that's not good. I mean, relationships aren't worth it. Or I mean, they are worth it. So a team's not worth it, I guess what I should
A
say.
lose relationship, yeah.
Yeah. And then then I started warming up again to it. And then I knew that, when my daughter told me she was pregnant, I'm like, okay, they're gonna be in Colorado for a long period of time. They're not coming here. So I gotta do something, because I'm still gonna be in my granddaughter's life. So I gotta figure something out. And that's when I started thinking about it more, looking at other people. And then when I had the opportunity to join Epic, then, I quickly approached Matt and I'm like, hey, let's do this. So
That is basically how it went down. She said, "Let's do this," and I said, "What are you talking about?" And she said, "A team, silly." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, we can look into that."
yeah.
It's funny because I still remember, Tara, when we met and we sat down and talked at Kingston, and you had mentioned team, and Matt and I were talking a little bit afterwards. He's like, "Well, I'm not going to have a team." And then I don't remember how long it was afterwards. Matt's like, "Well, I'm going to have a team, and Tara's on my team."
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've been called persistent by a lot of people. So
Tara was very persuasive, but I think it's important too because there's a structure within our team, but I feel like depending on what you're looking for, she's had a lot of input in what that structure looks like, because I want to make sure Tara gets out of this what Tara wants out of it, right? And maybe what Liz wants out of this might be slightly different than what Tara wants, and I want to make sure Liz gets out of it what Liz is looking to get out of it. So I guess that kind of leads to my next question. Like, Tara, we know you had some family things where you were looking for that support, but were there any like specific, I know you've been a seasoned vet, you've been doing this for 8 years, but was there any like specific benefits other than just a backup that you were looking for when you were, wanting to do the team thing? Was there
my
specific
big thing is my first brokerage did not have dot loop. And so when I went to my second, then they had dot loop. And my first deal was a relocation, where I don't know if everybody here has done one, but the amount of paperwork is just astronomical compared to a regular deal. And so a person approached me there about being my transaction coordinator. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is wonderful. And that was the first time when I hired that person, I had probably 12 deals going on at the same time. It was when I hired a TC, my business like doubled overnight. And so that was very important to me. And then that person's role changed. And so they weren't going to be able to do that anymore. So here I am 8 years into the business and I still don't know Dotloop very well because the other, my TC did it. So that was a big deal to me. And the fact that my business had tripled, doubled, tripled, whatever, was important. And you have to trust somebody and not have to give input like constantly. So that was very important to me. And I was able to look into that here. And then now I have a TC also.
Which is me.
Right, which is you. I didn't know if you wanted me to say that.
No, that's fine. So, but I think that's important because what you say with the trust and having someone that you don't need a lot of input from, like, because we have TC services, right, within our brokerage, but that is somebody who you've never met. I don't know who they are. I don't know where they're at. Like, but with me assisting you with that thing, you have more of a direct line and it's someone you know and trust. So, again, that's where it was deciding, what does Tara need? What does Liz need? Something that Tara was interested in was TC services because that wasn't something she had been doing on her own and rather have me do it as opposed to the TC services offered within the brokerage. So, I think that makes a lot of sense. Liz, was there something specific you were looking for as a benefit wise that, you could get as a team member, but wouldn't necessarily have access to as a solo agent?
I think honestly, it goes back to knowledge. I only knew what I knew. Most of my client base was probably 90% my sphere, which I absolutely love. I love working with friends and family, but I didn't know how to get people who were not in my sphere of influence as clients. I didn't know where to look, how to market myself. And a big thing coming into this, well, you're really good at getting people from all over the place come to you. And so a huge thing was be able to have someone to bounce ideas with well, I'd like to try this. I'd like to try that. You have multiple years of experience. You've tried all these things. What worked for you? Why did it? Why did it not? And just have someone to bounce all of that off of.
Yeah, I guess kind of the leading into that, like as a team lead, and I think most team leads, but us specifically, I'm opening the playbook, right? Like things that I would share with you guys and systems and tools and sheets and things that I've done and things I've put through trial and error. That's what I'm now open and willing to sharing with you because your success is not. So it just kind of creates that different dynamic. And like I said, kind of opening the playbook, so to speak.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that, and I don't know, I mean, maybe you guys can touch base on this, is at least my perspective sometimes is that most of the teams are structured fairly similarly, right? That was kind of my preconceived notion that, okay, well, people are going to join because they want leads. And with the team split, they're probably going to give up somewhere between, 30, 40, 50% of every deal, right? That was what I was thinking most teams had to be. And what I definitely have learned in our previous brokerage that myself and Matt were at, if you had a team, you had a minimum split that you had to have. Like the standard team, I think is what it was called, or traditional team, like you had to take at least a 25% cut as a team lead on every transaction. That's different where we're at now. That's much more open. It's more the team leader has much more flexibility in that. And so there's an opportunity to create different teams, and different brokerages might have whatever they have. But in my mind, it was always, well, it's probably at least, 25 seemed like it was going to be the minimum to me. And I thought most people were probably somewhere between there and 50%. But now, as I've looked at it, and I, especially, seeing, Clark Real Estate team, to me, it's the team doesn't have to always be about leads. It needs to be about value, right? So what are you getting out of it and how much are you paying in? And is that in balance? It's the same thing when people look at brokerages, right? You can be in balance and then you can get out of balance, right? So, there has to be a balance of what am I paying for and what am I getting a value in return for? And I think that's something to me that I know I've changed my opinion in the last, 6 months about that because everybody needs different things. And I was always caught in this, well, everybody wants more business, so they just want more leads. But like you guys said, that's not something you're looking at. I don't know if any all three of you, if you've had like preconceived notions about what a team should be and how maybe being on this team has maybe changed that, or I guess what are you guys' thoughts on that?
I mean, I definitely had that preconceived notion. I think that's why initially when Tara brought it up, I was like, no, that ain't for me. Like, I'm not interested in that whatsoever. And I had never been open to the idea of having a team for that very reason too. I think it's very important, and Liz kind of talked to it earlier that she was aware of a team that may or may not be a good fit, but there was a financial aspect of it. So it's important as an agent to say, do I receive enough value for what I'm giving, right? And vice versa, as a team lead, am I receiving enough value for what I'm giving as well? So I think there's that give and take, and I had that preconceived notion that, yeah, everybody just joins a team because they want leads, and then you're going to take 35+%. That's kind of what it is, and that's wasn't something I was interested in providing as being a solo agent for the last 8 years. But yeah, I do think there's that give and take in that value. And, like I said, what Tara needs is different than what Liz needs and those types of things. And then there's a value that's correlated with that. So, yeah, I'll let them chime in what they thought in terms of, value versus, within the agreement.
Well, I'll say that one thing that I love is compared to most leads, Matt, you take very, very little. And I also love that you had like a scale. So the longer we're with you, the lower our rate is until a certain percentage. And I know when you met with me and discussed that, you were like, my goal as a team leader is to give you knowledge, and to help you where you need help. And as you grow and need less and less help from me, I will charge less and less from you, which was a huge aspect of why I decided to join your team. I was wanting to be in a team, but I mean, as we've talked about, so many teams charge 25, 30, 35%, which is insane, absolutely insane. And I was coming off of, 2023 was a good year for me. I'm sure it was for a lot of agents. And 2024, I kind of felt that whole newbie stage hit full force. And I was sitting there going, oh my goodness, if I want my business to survive, I need to be making changes. And so that's what got me involved in Epic. And then on top of that, I've always, thought about being on a team. So then to have the opportunity to join Epic and join a team for, honestly, pennies compared to what I was paying at my last brokerage. It was a no-brainer for me. I was like, I'm going to get experience and all this knowledge from a mentor, and someone to walk side by side with me while I'm learning to grow my business and become a flourishing agent, and not have to bankrupt my own business for it. It's a win-win situation.
Yeah, and I think that was a big thing that I was stressing too. And and like I say, everybody's team is structured differently. There's definitely team leads that provide leads, and if that's something that they're looking for, like those options are definitely out there. But like what you said, like my goal personally was not necessarily to kick you off the team, but if you wanted to be a solo agent, like I've given you the tools and the knowledge and the things that you could tangibly use to then succeed on your own. And if you want to stick around, that's cool too. I like having the team. Thanks, Tara, because I didn't think I was going to do the team thing, but but there's a home for you if you want to be here. But then if it's something where you're like, no, I'm gonna do my own thing and I appreciate all the support, then I'm cool with that too. So Tara, what about you in terms of, you know, the value and the things that you were looking for?
Yeah, well, the value is huge for me. Because again, my most important thing to me in my life right now is my granddaughter and my family. And I don't want to give up that to be an agent, but I still want to be an agent. So, you know, the first couple, 3, 4, 5 years I was doing this, I was working around the clock and I missed a lot of things, and I don't want to do that. So for me, the value I get from having this team or being on this team is just astronomical for me. And the fact that I have a TC so I can actually shut off. Because before I wasn't able to shut off, because then if I have something to do, which we all have something to do as agents 24/7, right? But I can actually shut it off and go do what I need to do and not be like, oh, well, I need to do this at 9 or 10 o'clock at night because I'm going to forget to do this. So I need to go do it right now. I don't have to do that now because I have you guys to where I can do that. So the value is just absolutely huge for me. And so it's totally worth it. And again, just like Liz said, it's a lot less than some other people charge. I mean, there's a person in particular that charges like 50%, and I'm like, oh my gosh, no way. I don't know how people do that, but
I think it's all based on like what is the value and what do you want, right? So,
that's
you
true.
know, if Matt was paying for and providing you leads,
Sure, then maybe it
his
would.
his split would not be what it is, right?
Right.
So, you know, and I think that's where, you know, even within brokerages, right? There's every brokerage, I believe every brokerage, but I'm going to say every brokerage has a different value proposition, from the commission splits to the training and education to the leads that they provide or don't provide. Like, and that's what every agent has to kind of look at. There's no one size fits all brokerage. I don't think there's a one size fits all team, right? It's what are you looking for in value? The the challenge sometimes, I think, in teams that are created by a team leader or that are running is when you get in there, sometimes there's like no flexibility, from the sense that when you start on a team, for most people, if I'm thinking about the leads one, right? Or if you're a newer agent, you need that team leader is going to have to pour a lot of time and energy and resources and money into getting you so you can fly, so to speak, on your own.
Sure.
Then once you know how to fly, well, the team split just stays the same. And so now that's where the value proposition comes in balance, and that's why I think you see people exit teams after a while, because they've gotten to the point where the value and what they need is an imbalance, right? And that's why I don't think there's a one size fits all, definitely. It just
And
kind of depends what people need and what they're providing for value,
I
for
think that's
sure.
what made the team thing more appealing at Epic versus, you know, my previous brokerage is that was that flexibility. It gave me the ability to customize what my value proposition was to Tara and to Liz, and then, you know, charge something that I felt was appropriate versus, like you said, you know, you help somebody, they learn to fly, but their fee or whatever, their team split is always up to here. It doesn't change based on, you know, them doing the things on their own versus, you know, given from a team lead. So having that flexibility I thought was important, and it gave me the ability to at least evaluate, maybe this actually would make sense under the certain scenarios and under the right structure. So
Well,
Well,
I
yeah, I
also
mean,
like the fact that we have meetings every week and we can actually tweak some things here or there because of the fact, you know, it's ever growing. We're, you know, we evolve as people. So,
yeah, I think if there's ever anything that needs tweaked or changed, I mean, you can always open that up for a discussion. And
mhm.
like JJ said, there's no one size fits all. So as things changing, your business changes, your needs might change. And so, you know, there's that flexibility to adapt to that. And I didn't feel like I necessarily would have had that at my previous brokerage, which is not, you know, kind of part of the reasons why, you know, a team type structure was definitely never on my radar in that sense.
Yeah, because you would have charged 20, you had to charge 25%. That was the minimum. And then knowing you, Matt, you're like, I don't know if I'm providing enough value for 25%, and I don't want to do the things that I would need to do to provide that much value, which would get into leads, right? I'm not going to buy and pay for a lead source to give somebody leads, so I can kind of warrant my 25%, right?
Yeah, it was much easier just to be a solo agent, just do my own thing.
Correct. Yep. Real quick before we go further, I forgot to mention this at the top of the hour, but if you have any questions, so far no questions, so we're killing it. If you have questions, you know, you can click the Q&A at the bottom, and then when you're filling that out, click on the Ask Anonymous, Ask Anonymously, I think it says, if you want. Otherwise, your name will come across on the Q&A that I see. And so definitely feel free to ask any questions. We're an open book. We get the split thing a lot. Maybe we're gonna get that again. Like, what's a common team split? I'm like, there isn't one. I think it can be anything. It comes down like, what's a common brokerage split? There isn't one. It's, to me, it's the value. Like, is there value in what you get from that team? That's
We actually
gonna
got
be the
that
thing to look for.
question over our last two webinars. I think
We did. Same one.
What's a common team split? And yeah, again, some brokerages, you know, some brokerages have different structures on their fees, and then teams are the same way. I mean, teams are basically kind of like mini brokerages within the brokerage. And so you're not going to find a one size fits all. You're not going to find this like generic, you know, this is all that it is all the time. So yeah, there definitely is not a generic answer or a generic team split or a fee associated with that. It really is going to depend upon, like we've been saying, like what that value proposition is.
Correct. Question I have for Liz and Tara is, knowing what you know now, would you go back, and if you could go back to your first, let's say, year or so in the industry, would you have joined this team earlier or joined the team earlier? And how would that have changed, do you feel like, your trajectory as far as not even just career and numbers could help with that, but also just in what you were looking for? So would you go back and start earlier? Or are you glad you went through the solo route this far to then appreciate and know what you want in a team?
You know, I would say I really appreciated being able to be solo because it kind of allowed me to realize what value I needed in a team. I think maybe I wouldn't have waited 2 years because it was pretty new and it would have been nice to have someone there to mentor me. But I definitely would have gone a year. My toddler's deciding to throw everything off the table. Okay. But I definitely would have taken my first year and done it by myself to realize, you know, what benefits was I looking for? What did I need? And would it be a good move for me? Because now being an agent looking back, being agent on a team looking back, I can say it was a much needed move.
Mhm.
What about you, Liz, or Tara?
Yeah, I was gonna say at first that yes, but now that I'm thinking about it, I'm kind of glad I did what I did because my first couple of years were really difficult. There was a lot of family issues going on. I mean, like some really hard ones. So I do a lot of things, and a lot of things fell through the cracks, and there was just it was kind of really hard for me. But I'm glad it was hard for me because it taught me a lot of things. And that's how I learned, is going through and making mistakes, things like that. So I'm kind of glad. And then it led me to where I am now and doing this now. So if I would have done it then, everything might have been totally different now. So I'm kind of glad I did what I did.
Yeah, I think Liz hit on a good spot too. And I'm not picking on Liz, but Liz is newer, right? I know Tara's been in the business like 8 years, and Liz is not one of the bad statistics. She is going through her first renewal cycle. So we like
Hey.
to hear that. Because what's the stat? Like 87% of people don't renew.
Yeah, you're one of the 13%.
There you go. Liz is a 13%er, so we're happy about that.
Woohoo!
But I think it's important what she said, that she wouldn't have known what she wanted or what she needed had she not done it solo first. And then especially going from a market that was probably a little more favorable than when she started to where it is now, it's definitely a lot harder now. I think she used those experiences as a solo agent to realize, okay, yeah, I can do this solo, but man, what if there was something out there that I found benefit in and the cost matched the benefit? Like, would that be something she would be open to? And if you didn't have those solo experiences first, you probably don't know what you need or what you want from a team format. So, and kind of same for Tara. That's kind of what Tara alluded to as well.
Yeah, and not to contrast that, but then like when we talked to Alexis Kemp last week, she started as an assistant and then was on a team, and there was pros for her on that side of it. That's why it's not one size fits all, right? It's every path can kind of still lead to where you want to go in your business. But I do think that changing paths is what can scare people sometimes, right? Like I don't want to join a team when I've been on a team. I don't want to leave the team because I've been on a team. Like there can be, fear and uncertainty. And I think, I lead that into, maybe one of my last questions, unless I think of more, but for Tara and Liz specifically, knowing what you know now, like what advice for the people who are watching this live or the recording, like what advice would you give people when they're thinking about joining a team? Like what were things that you were thinking about, or what would you wish you were thinking about and you would have asked Matt and grilled him on a little bit more before joining his team? Like what would some of those things be? Why don't you go first, Tara?
No. Boy. I guess some of them was just the trust issue. I looked at a few different teams in different places and even a few other brokerages, even though I knew I wasn't going there. I just wanted to see kind of, what it was all about. And they're all so different. I mean, my first thought years ago, my first brokerage, there was this one mother-in-law daughter team that was the traditional 50-50, and that's how I thought it was all about for years. And I just wanted someone to bounce ideas off of and have that camaraderie. So you just have to look at a lot of different people and see what you really want. Because sometimes when I first started, I wanted something a little different than what I have now. But now I have what I really want. It took me a while to figure out what I really wanted and what was the best value proposition for me. And so I'm happy that it took a while, because now that I have that, I don't have to worry about, oh, hey, I think I might want this or I want something different. So just take your time. That's the biggest advice I would give, is take your time and really figure out what you want to do.
What's your answer on that, Liz?
Well, to start off, I was beyond scared. I think terrified is the word to use about at the time while leaving my brokerage and then joining a team. And I was very suspicious of Matt. I was like, I'm not so sure. Tara, I know. Matt, I don't. Do I trust this person? And so there was, I would say, a longer interview process. Take your time, especially when someone's going to be your team leader. I feel like I grilled Matt a little bit, and we went on a few meetings. But this person you're going to put a lot of trust into, and they're going to give you a lot of business advice. And you really want to get to know the person you're going to join a team with. Because they're gonna affect your business. I mean, they're gonna affect so much in the years to come. And luckily my trust was placed in the right person. But I would just say don't rush into anything. It means interviewing a few teams, interview a few teams. I was really blessed to get it right the first time. But that doesn't mean that every team captain out there is out there for you. Some people see it as a financial gain to have a bunch of people on your team. And so take your time, get to know the people you're going to be on a team with, get to know your team captain. I I think I took some time to grill Matt, which I really appreciate. I think I should have taken a little bit more time maybe to I don't know, map a business plan out, but so that I had a game plan going into, okay, what exactly do I want from this team? Matt had one written up for me, which was great. But I think looking back when you're thinking about joining a team, write down all the ideas of why are you joining a team? What do you want to gain from it? And make sure going in that your team captain can provide all of that.
I will attest, Liz did grill me, which is totally fine. I didn't mind that whatsoever because the decision she was making was very important. And, just as much as I'm talking to Liz and deciding if that's someone who I want to, be on my team and be in a partnership with, like she's doing the exact same thing. So I think that's an important point. Like you should be, I know Liz had some other team ideas and I know Tara had some team experience. But I do think it's a good idea to quote unquote shop around. Like you can shop brokerages, you can shop teams. I don't think that that's a terrible thing. And in fact, I would encourage everybody who's looking to join a team to do that because like you said, like Liz just said too, there's different value propositions and different things everybody's going to offer. So yeah, I think going back and just really taking your time deciding who you want to align with, and then if you want to align with that person, you're going to have to align with that brokerage too. And I think that's an important piece too, because it's not just us as the team. There's a brokerage we're now aligned with too. And if you like me as a team lead or whoever's a team lead, but you're like, I don't know if I want to be associated with that brokerage, or I don't feel like that brokerage is giving me enough value, you do have to kind of factor that in as well.
And to jump off of that, when you're joining a team, you're also taking on that person's name. I mean, us as realtors, our name is one of our biggest assets out there. If you're a realtor with a good name, you're going to get clients. If you have a sketchy past and people know your name for bad reasons, it's going to affect your business. So you're aligning yourself with Matt. I'm Elizabeth Lancer on the Clark team. And so it's important to align yourself with a team captain who has a good name, because it's now going to be on all your marketing.
That's
Yeah,
a
and
good
on the
point.
flip side, like that was something I was slightly nervous about. Like, I don't know Liz all that well. I had known Tara for a while. Me and Tara have been in conversations for years. We had done deals together. I mean, I knew Tara pretty well at this point. So, Tara was someone I was definitely comfortable with. But then when Tara introduces me to Liz, like, that's not somebody I know. Tara's vouching for her, but I don't really. I mean, I did some sleuthing. I'll be honest, Liz. I did some sleuthing, right? I mean, I think that's important because you're right. Not only do you want to be associated with a name that you feel garners respect and is a benefit to you, it's the same for me. I don't want somebody on my team who now is quote unquote acting under my name and screwing everything up. And that's important to me too. So, like I said, there's definitely scenarios where this all works and there's a balance and everybody gets what they want and everybody gets what they need. But I think it goes back to what you guys both said. Like, take your time. It is a big decision without a doubt.
And I think something that you guys all mentioned was, I think for, looping it back to the person who is looking at these, I think doing some things ahead of time to think about what do I want from a team? Where do I want my business to go or stay, whatever that is, and then how do I get there? So if I feel like what I need is someone who can mentor me and will open up their playbook, if I feel like I just need someone to support me and cover things because, I have other things going on. If I need more leads, because I feel like, if I just get more opportunities at stuff, I can build a book of business. And so I think knowing what you want versus getting persuaded by somebody that you're going to interview on a team lead, and they're going to throw, the shiny objects and all those things to make you feel like, oh, our team's going to be the best and all that. I think people really need to take a moment and go, what do I need? What do I think will help me get to the next level? What is it that I'm looking for in a team as much as anything? Just like what are you looking for in a brokerage? Like if you're looking for certain things, there might be there might be better choices to go to or that go to from where you're at. But at the end of the day, if you're trying to put the square peg in a round hole on a team or a brokerage, it's probably not going to work out for the best, right? You're going to have a lot of headwind and a lot of challenges, and a lot of frustrations, and then you lead to where Tara was talking about earlier. You're going to have a team yelling at each other and throwing stuff.
We haven't done that yet.
You guys haven't? Okay.
No.
Sounds
I
fun
don't,
though.
we didn't have any yelling, but I know when we had our quote unquote brokerage team, there was times Matt and I had some interesting conversations where he was wanting to leave because the value proposition was out of balance at that point. And I know that as the broker.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Like when I was at my independent, working as a solo agent, like the structure at JJ's independent brokerage was kind of a team structure. I mean, I don't think I thought of
100%.
it. Yeah, I don't think I thought of it like that at the time. And I don't even necessarily maybe think you thought of it like that at the time. But looking back, it was kind of like a team structure. And yeah, there was a couple occasions where I was gonna probably bolt and go somewhere else. And it wasn't because I wasn't grateful or didn't like what was going on, within the brokerage. It was like JJ said, what I felt was happening was the balance, the value proposition balance was a little out of whack. And when that happens, that's when you start to look outside the doors and see what else is out there. So, I think it's important to understand that. And then I think it's important to do a lot of legwork up front. And like Tara and Liz said, to take your time and really decide what you're looking for, and then finding who provides that and then keeps that balance. Like who provides that at a level at which you feel like it's a even swap for both parties.
And thinking ahead on that is if you find that and you want to go from here to here or whatever that is in your business and you go to there, will that change the value proposition? And if it does change the value proposition, what happens? Is there flexibility? Do you have to break a contract? Are they going to let you leave on good terms? Like that would be something I would be thinking about as well. Like, okay, I want to go from, just to use it from a volume perspective, like I want to go from 3 million and I want someone that's going to get me to 10 million in sales volume. Okay, when you get to 10 million in sales volume, because they provided you all the leads, but now you feel like you're going to do most of that on past client sphere of influence, how does that value proposition look? Now, so what's the exit strategy? Not that you want to think about your exit strategy on the entry strategy or the entry interviews, but you might want to be a little mindful of that, of thinking, okay, so when I get to that, now what am I going to do? Am I good with where I'm at? Or am I going to have to change? Or is there flexibility within that? And if I have to change, are they going to be someone who is encouraging that? Because I know, obviously I know all three of you well, and I know Matt's heart and intentions is like, if you guys want to go off the team some point, he is not going to be upset and mad at you. Like he's going to be happy that you guys got to where you needed to go, and understands, because he's been on the other side with it, with my independent brokerage, that at some point the value proposition is going to be not working out, and maybe I can make a change, but if I can't, I totally get it. So,
Well, to piggyback off of that, that was actually important to me. And he actually wrote that in our agreement, that if at some point in time you feel you want to leave, I wish you the best. And there's no issue if you want to leave. And that was up front. And I was like, okay, well, that's another check mark on the trust issue.
Well, I think some of that just came from like JJ said, my own personal experience. Like I felt JJ's intentions were good too, and I was having like JJ wanted me to stay, obviously, and truth be told, I wanted to stay. It just some things didn't make sense where I could stay, and so, yeah, I think a lot of that I've built into, and like I said, all team leads are different, but some of the things I've built in are just talking from my own experiences of exactly what you're talking about. So.
all right, we're getting down to about an hour, or down to the bottom of the hour. So any questions? Again, we've crushed it. No questions so far. If you have any questions, definitely throw them in there. We'll answer them quickly before we wrap up here. But as we wrap up, I don't know if there's any other questions or thoughts that have come up as we've talked through this.
No, I don't have anything else, but I do want to plug. This is the third and final video of our team series.
Yes.
So if you watch this but didn't watch our other ones, they are all on my YouTube channel, so you can check those out. We talked first about should I start a team? Um, and we talked, and we always have guest speakers, not just me and JJ. That'd be no one would watch that if it's just the
No,
two of us.
no one would want to watch that.
So we first spoke to somebody in regards to starting a team, and then we then spoke to somebody who actually had experience in everything. The main topic last time was should I leave a team, but she's also left a team, and she's also joined a team, and now she's started her own team. So we kind of got a little bit of everything. And then obviously today we're focusing more on joining a team. So if this is something you're interested in, or you want us to dive into those other further topics, we've actually already done so, and you can watch those on my YouTube channel.
Correct. And the other two speakers were not with our brokerage. Like we're on the same brokerage. So this is to me a broker agnostic conversation. It's a realtor themselves for their business conversation. So just because some people think, oh, all you guys are going to do is talk to Epic people about Epic. It's like, nope, we talked to the other 2 weeks were the people talking were not with Epic. So it is a broker agnostic conversation in my mind on that. So definitely check that out. No questions coming in. So with that, we'll part. Liz and Tara, thank you so much for being on and sharing openly with that. Good to hear that someone besides me questions Matt sometimes and is quizzing him on stuff. But yeah, like Matt said, these other ones are on the YouTube channel. If you are watching this live or watching replay and you want links to the other ones, definitely feel free to reach out to Matt or myself. We can send those to you and then go from there. So
Well,
appreciate.
I have a question for Matt, if
Yeah.
that would be okay.
Oh,
So,
stop recording.
huh?
Nope, we're recording this.
Oh, okay. So, are you getting value from having your team?
I think that's a good question. Yeah, I do feel like that. And when I was first approached with the idea back in April, I was very adamantly that I did not want to do that. And I'm not even just talking from a financial piece, because I do feel like the financial piece between the three of us, it's pretty minuscule, and that's kind of by design. But no, I think I get things out of it that I probably wasn't expecting in terms of camaraderie, um, support. I'm always up for sharing open houses or things like that. Just bouncing off ideas. I know me and JJ have been kind of side by side for the last 8 years, but me and JJ tend to think a lot alike. And so, you know, we're not like a plethora of ideas when me and him are kind of thinking of the same thing all the time. So to have, Tara's perspective and Liz's perspective and bringing different ideas to the table, I've received value in that too, rather than just always associating myself with somebody who, kind of thinks like me a lot of the times. So, yeah, I would say for me personally, and that was something that I had to evaluate when starting a team. Like, am I going to get something out of it? Not to sound selfish, but like it has to be a two-way street. And yeah, I do feel like that. And I probably am getting things out of it that I probably did not anticipate that I would receive. So I would say all is good. Good question, Tara.
Hey.
She was worried that you were going to shut down the team right after this Zoom. Like,
Done.
team is disbanding. I made it to this point. This is all I was waiting to get through. Merry Christmas.
Yep, I'm out. This is great, but I'm cutting everything off.
No, it is a good point. I think that's what gets lost in a lot of the team structure when you look from the outside. Is it like Matt said, it's two-way street. It's a give and take. There needs to be value on both sides, in my opinion, right? The team leader, whoever's running the team or whoever the people are running a team, need to have a certain amount of value that they're getting from it, but the team members need to get a value. And finding that balance, to me, that's where there's not that one size fits all. I feel like because I've listened to different people talk about teams, from coaches to people on different stages at events and stuff like that, there seems like a one size fits all team approach. And obviously, for those that know my background of how I got into real estate, I'm not a one size fits all person. I think there's a rainbow full of colors of different ways to do real estate. And so, to me, knowing your value that you are giving as a team leader, knowing the value you want to receive as a team member is what can help you get that balance.
Mhm.
All right, with that, we are 11:33. We're in an hour again, right about an hour from when we started. So appreciate everybody that's online watching and that's going to watch the record it. Those that are watching the recording as well. If you have any questions, definitely feel free to reach out. Again, appreciate it, Liz and Tara, and then Matt, as always, appreciate you jumping on and co-hosting these with me.
No, this has been a lot of fun. And just a precursor, we're going to start another series here coming up soon, talking more. This was on teams. We're going to talk more about solo agents. So
Yep.
that should be a lot of fun coming up as well. So if you kind of enjoy this format, keep an eye out for that stuff too. We're going to talk to some more people and get some more good information.
Yep. Be on the lookout for that. All right. Thanks, everyone. See ya.
Bye.